This morning, there was a political cartoon that depicted Serena Williams as a caricature of a black woman. Looks like the artist was trying to make her look like a baby, but she had the stereotypical exaggerated black features, big kind of gorilla-like, big protruding lips, stomping up and down on a racket. And her opponent, Naomi Osaka, who is of Japanese and Haitian descent, was portrayed as a white woman with blonde hair. Okay? And I really thought about not talking about this. I was just like, every day it's something. And then I saw on Twitter a black gentleman who said, stop retweeting this because, you just give it life. And if we, stop talking about race, it'll go away. That's sentiment. He didn't say exactly that, but that's a common theme. If you just stop talking about race, it'll go away. What does that work in? Like, in what way does stop talking about something really work? Like a real problem. Does it work in the medical field? I got a broken leg. If I would just stop talking about it, it'll heal. I don't need surgery. Excuse me. The bone is protruding out of my leg. But if I would just, it's when you talk about it, that's really the problem. It's the conversation about it, not the healing, okay? Thank you. So let me just stop talking about it and that'll go away. It's just not true. And I get it, because it is exhausting to continue to have what feels like the same exact conversation over and over and over and over. And it's just like, man, why do we have to say this every day? Every day? Every day. Okay? Yeah, stop sneezing and the allergies will go away. And the thing is, it is exhausting. Trust me. I get exhausted of it. But here's the problem. Race in America is not just an inconvenience. Okay? Race has real life consequences. Okay? There's countless stories of black people not being offered jobs because of their name and their name sounding ghetto. Perceived black names. There's like studies that perceived black names are, have less likelihood of making it to interviews. If you stop talking about that, will that work? Will that switch that statistic? That thing that's happening in real life? No. Botham, I believe his name is Botham St. John. I'm not familiar exactly with his name. But there was a black gentleman who was killed in his own apartment over the weekend by a cop. Okay? Now, the story's a little weird. The first story was that she was in his apartment and she thought it was hers. She walked into the wrong apartment and somehow thought it was hers. And then she thought like there was an intruder in her house. But that never really quite made sense to me. There's just too many whats. Like, if you go to an apartment, one, how does your key work in an apartment that's not yours? Two, how do you enter a place that's not yours and not recognize immediately that it's not your place? That just doesn't make sense to me. Didn't make sense that she could get in. And if she got in and was sober and of clear thought, you'd immediately know that is not your place. Even in the dorm room where all the layouts are similar, you decorate it differently, and a a woman's apartment, I would imagine, has different decorations than a man's. Actually, 2 women's apartments, if you gave 2 women apartments side by side in the same $10,000 or $50,000 in money to spend at the same furniture store, they would not have the same apartments. Okay? So now, later on, it came out that they were like, she was drunk or they were dating and she had a key to his apartment and all types of stuff that don't make sense. But the thing that brought this to my attention more than anything else, you know, black people have been killed at an alarming rate, and black people have been killed unarmed at the hands of white police officers at a rate that's higher than the national average. And it's been all different type of ways. Tamir Rice is a 12-year-old boy playing in the park with a toy gun. There's, you know, Jordan in the Walmart with a gun in his shopping cart. There's, you know, Eric Garner choked to death. Walter Scott running away. Actually, a police officer, thank the Lord, was just convicted of a crime. I forgot who he killed, but he actually got convicted. And I was like, oh, wow, what a surprise. But this most recent one was like, fam, you can't even be at home? You can't even be at your own house. Where can you be if not at home? Philando Castile killed on the side of the highway for telling an officer that he had a gun. I mean, it's endless. And it is exhausting. But I have to gather the energy to speak about it, because if I don't, I'm just going to lose it. I can't. Here's why I have to speak about it. I can't just accept that this is how life is going to be. I won't. I don't know. Sometimes my videos reach people and change their mind. It rarely feels like that, you know, but I've had white people along the way say, hey, you know what? I thought about this one way, and your video made me realize that was an incorrect way of thinking about it. And I appreciate that. So for that, I'll deal with the people calling me racist and, you know, saying I pulled the race card and the angry emails and DMs and calling me everything but a child of God. I'll deal with that if one person is educated. And on the same part about that, I know people in the LGBT community and the trans community specifically, they probably get tired of explaining stuff to people who don't understand. But I learn that's a community I'm not familiar with, you know, the rules and regulations. And I learn a lot by people talking about it and what probably feels like repeating themselves. And I'm going to be completely 100% honest here. The term transgender, I had to research what is even the correct way to say. Like when Bruce Jenner, I don't know if you say turned, I'm so afraid of saying the wrong thing that I don't even know what the right thing to say is. When Bruce Jenner had gender reassignment surgery and became a woman, I didn't even know if you're supposed to call him a transgender man or transgender woman or trans woman. And if I'm correct, I believe the person that you transition into is the correct term, not the person that you came or the person that you were before. So I believe the correct term is a Caitlyn Jenner. Oh my God, Jenner and gender, really, man? That's really confusing. Caitlyn Jenner is a trans woman, if I'm correct. Now, when I was a child, young, I heard the term tranny. Oh, that was a tranny. This dude had sex with a tranny. I didn't realize until Michael Shea's stand-up comedy special that term was offensive. It's, like the N-word. So having people who live in that world and understand that world and are willing to explain it to others who are open-minded, who are not just going to be ignorant, taught me that that's an offensive word. Like, I don't remember the joke Michael Shea said. But anyway, the reason I said all that is because somebody in that community was willing to speak up and call people out when they were wrong, it helped me to learn. And that's why I'll continue to speak out about these things, even though it's mentally exhausting, because the author, Mark Knight, Knight Cartoons, he needs to know he's wrong. Other people need to know that it's wrong. And the most important thing, at least with the Serena Williams thing, this is not even like consistent. Tennis people notoriously yell, scream, break rackets, yell at the umpire, very rarely get violations, hardly ever have games taken away from them. And Serena likely wasn't going to win that match anyway. Like, Naomi Osaka just was on her A game. And she likely wasn't going to win anyway. And I don't even think that she was upset about that. It's just that in baseball, you're allowed to yell at the umpire about cost. It's part of the game. In tennis, that is pretty consistent. But when Serena does it, she's docked, $17,000 fine and, games taken away from her. It cost her the match earlier than it would have cost her. To me, her spirit was kind of broken after that. But now that girl's first major is marred by controversy. And she had to basically apologize for winning, which was ridiculous. So I'd love to have this conversation over a longer period of time, but traffic is less light than usual, and I'm going to have to start having bad service. But don't you fret. There will be another thing this week or next that will allow me to talk about racism again, because, this is America, and, we're not going to really go a week or two. I mean, I probably could talk about race every single day if I felt like it. There's always going to be a topic, but rest assured, the topic will come up again. So have a great day. Love somebody around you. We'll see you next time.